One of the best ways to customize Minecraft is through the use of resource packs, which is why today I found a bunch of resource packs which help to improve what Minecraft 1.21 looks like. Starting with a simple resource pack called Door Tweaks. Now, as it says in the name, the resource pack Door Tweaks adds some small tweaks to different doors in Minecraft. And as you look through each door type, the changes are pretty noticeable, as every single one of these doors now have 3D textures. This is much more noticeable if you look a bit clearer, as all the door handles now have 3D effect, and as you look through some of the windows, for example on these oak doors, you'll be able to see the pixels inside. Honestly, I really like the effect this adds to all the doors. Like the cherry door now looks really cool, and I love the effect on trapdoors, like this mangrove trapdoor with the circular effect just looks really nice. It also does change some of the textures of the trapdoors. For example, the crimson ones and warped ones have changed, and so have the iron doors and trapdoors, as they now have more holes in them, and honestly I really like this design. It almost reminds me of some sort of copper grate, and I think it would work really well as some sort of drain design. As well as this, if you look through the creative inventory, you'll be able to see all of the item textures have actually changed, and now all the trapdoors are little square icons. But looking through some of my builds I've created, you'll be able to see the effect of door tweaks. Honestly, I think these oak trapdoors and spruce trapdoors work really well down here, and I love the effect of these jungle trapdoors on the roof now. But despite being a fairly small resource pack, I definitely recommend using door tweaks if you like the normal look of Minecraft stores but do think they could have a little bit of an improvement. One thing everyone does at one stage inside of their Minecraft worlds is go netherite mining, which is why this resource pack, Blue Netherite, is so useful, as this resource pack changes the look of ancient debris in Minecraft to be a light blue texture, so it's much more noticeable when mining for netherite. As before, the brown ancient debris texture sort of blends in with the netherrack or the basalt or the blackstone around it. However, this light blue is a complete contrast to anything else you find in the nether, which is why the Blue Netherite resource pack is so useful, as it becomes so much easier to spot any netherite that spawns within inside of your Minecraft world. But don't worry, this has no effect on the actual textures of netherite, so your netherite armor and tools will all remain the same. This just changes the ancient debris to make it a little bit easier to find. Now, to be honest, I wouldn't recommend using this resource pack all the time, but as soon as you go into the nether to start netherite mining, I feel like it is very, very useful. One of the biggest features that players want to see added into Minecraft is banners on beds, which would be a great way to customize the look of your bed inside of your Minecraft world, which is why I recommend using the Fancy Beds resource pack, as it completely changes the textures of all of the beds inside of Minecraft. White beds will now have a panda on it, light grey will have a rabbit, grey will have a wolf, black will have a moon, brown will have a cow, red will have a mushroom, orange will have a fox, bees will have yellow, yellow will have bees, lime will have frogs, green will have creeper, cyan will have a lily pad, light blue will have bubbles, blue will have a pirate ship, purple will have a shulker, magenta will have a flower, and pink will have a pig. And honestly, I do think these help to add loads more detail into the beds in Minecraft, so they're not all just the same boring plain texture they normally are. And I know this isn't quite banners on beds, but it is a pretty close way to get it inside of vanilla Minecraft. One extra thing I would recommend installing is the Better Beds mod, which changes a bed into a block rather than an entity, and allows for an additional resource pack, which creates these really cool 3D pillows, which I think makes fancy beds even better, as now Minecraft's beds look even more detailed. Before I move on to the next resource pack, make sure to subscribe, as I've been planning to make loads more resource pack video showcases in the future. So if you enjoy it, make sure to subscribe to let me know that I should be making more videos like this. One of the most popular resource packs inside of Minecraft is known as Fresh Animations, which gives a completely brand new look to animations within Minecraft, which is pretty noticeable with these villagers as their eyes and noses now move, and so do their eyebrows. This guy looks particularly concerned. But with a resource pack known as Fresh Animations Extended, it adds extra features to Fresh Animations. And this actually comes in a ton of different resource packs, or you can combine them all into one texture pack, which is what I'm going to be showcasing today. For example, one of the edits is a creeper edit, which changes the textures of the creeper to add 3 different variations to them. And honestly, I feel like this is what creepers would actually look like if their texture actually got changed with the texture update. But I do understand why the texture didn't get changed, as Minecraft did want to keep the iconic creeper texture. But to be honest, I do like the look of these retextured creepers, plus the addition that they do have the Fresh Animations built in. The next part of Fresh Animations Extended is known as Details add-on, as this resource pack adds on a load of different details to Minecraft's mobs. For example, taking a look at chickens, they have completely new models. They now have tails and these little head things, head crests. I don't actually know what it's called on a chicken. They've got these little head crowns though, and I do think they do look pretty cool with them. All of the cow types, such as the mushrooms, all have different like 3D ears, which I think look nice, and they've also got tails as well, which I've just noticed. Sheep follow in a similar pattern by also having ears, which I do think actually do look pretty nice. Although, I don't know if I'd use it myself. Baby villagers now have a fresh animation texture, which I do think looks nice. And if you look closely on an iron golem, you'll notice a 3D vine effect. And wandering traders now also come with 3D pouches. Taking a look at some of the pigs, they've also had texture changes, as they now all have floppy ears, which I think looks nice. And lots of them do come with tusks as well, which I think do look pretty funny. Next up, we have the emissive add-on, which is best seen at night, as it adds glowing eyes to many of Minecraft's different mobs. This is pretty noticeable on the iron golem with his glowing red eyes, but is also noticeable on mobs such as the drowned, strays, and even guardians. And guardians also now do come with fin textures as well, although they're pretty hard to see. The next add-on for Fresh Animations Extended adds quivers to skeletons, strays, and bogs. Now, as this is only a resource pack, when you kill a skeleton, it doesn't have a chance of actually dropping a quiver, as it's just an extra texture. But I do think it looks pretty nice, and it helps to add loads of detail. I'm a massive fan of what it does look like on the bogged, actually. I really like the green sort of colour it has, in contrast to the sort of leather colour it has on this skeleton. Next, with Fresh Animations Extended, spiders and cave spiders have had some changes, as they now have much bigger legs and terrifying mouths. Honestly, this spider now does look terrifying. Yeah, so maybe you wouldn't want to play with this part of a resource pack, as spiders now look terrifying to deal with. But this next part of a resource pack is pretty cool, as it re-adds the classic models for horses, donkeys, and mules. This is fairly noticeable by looking at their hooves, which now sort of have a 3D effect to them, which I think looks pretty nice. They've also got different saddles, and the donkeys now come with different chests on the side of them as well. And honestly, I'm a fan of this one the most, and I have been using it in videos recently, and I'm definitely going to continue using this part of a resource pack in the future. And finally, with Fresh Animations Extended, we have the Objects add-on, which just changes some of the different block entities in Minecraft, which is very noticeable when looking at boats and rafts, as all of their oars and paddles now stay on the side of them. Opening chests will now add this sort of wobbling effect to them, which is fairly hard to notice, but it is there, just a little sort of wobble each time you open and close it. Minecarts also now have some extra detail onto them as well, and if we take a look underneath, although hard to see, they do have little wheels. But let me know down in the comments which one of these Fresh Animations Extended resource packs are you most likely to use in your worlds in the future. Now, moving on from mob and entity animations, we've now got the Animated Items resource pack. Now, this resource pack adds some subtle animations to Minecraft's different items. For example, the Totem of Undying can now blink. Diamond and Netherite swords now have this really cool sort of enchantment glint effect to them, which for the Netherite sword almost looks like the soul sort of particles coming up it. I think that looks really nice. Gold apples and enchanted golden apples have sparkles around them once you hold it. Iron ingots sort of have this sort of shiny effect, as do amethyst shards. And ender pearls and eye of enders can now actually blink. Although these animations are fairly subtle, I do think these look really cool and just add some extra detail to many of Minecraft's different items. Now, one of the reasons many people don't like to use totems is it does take up a lot of their screen, which is why this next resource pack is so useful, as this is the Smaller Totem resource pack, which just changes the position you hold the totem in so it's much smaller in your hand. For example, this is a smaller totem, and this is Minecraft's default totem. Now, despite this being a fairly small resource pack, I think it is very useful, as it does free up a bit more space on your screen, so you are able to see it a bit more, without your Totem of Undying taking up all of the room. Particles Plus is a resource pack which changes and fixes many of Minecraft's different particles. For example, eating different foods will give off much better particles than it did before, and breaking different mob heads now gives off the correct particles, rather than the soul sand particle they normally would. As well as this, breaking banners will now display the correct particle rather than a wood breaking particle it displayed before. Now, despite this adding some fairly small changes, I think this is a very useful resource pack, as it just helps to fix some of Minecraft's inconsistencies. Speaking of Minecraft's inconsistencies, we move on to the next resource pack, Block States Plus, which changes the look of different block states within Minecraft. Now, a block state is a feature that many of Minecraft's different blocks actually have. This is noticeable with different crops, as each stage is a different block state. And this resource pack, Block States Plus, changes a ton of the different block states within Minecraft. This is very noticeable when looking at the carrots or the potatoes are planted over here, as many of them now have different flower textures on them. But it's also noticeable with the many different plants within Minecraft. For example, when bamboo is fully grown, they'll have this sort of yellow tint to them, which I think looks nice. Netherwort now has different colours depending on the stage. For example, it will stay the sort of crimsony red colour it has it by default when it's first planted, but turn to a purple by the end when it is fully ready to harvest. As well as this, sugarcane has completely changed, as now 1 block of sugarcane is this little sprout in the ground, 2 blocks it almost looks like 1 block, and 3 blocks almost looks like 3 blocks. When sharing a twisting vine or it fully grows to age 25, it will now have this sort of warped fungus effect to it, which looks nice. And when a cactus is fully grown, and yes, cactus actually has ages to it, which I've just realised, it now actually has cool flower textures on it, which I do think looks really nice. When a glowberry is fully grown or is sheared, it will now have these azalea flowers on it, which looks really nice. And filling up a composter, and by the time it is fully ready to harvest, it will have bone meal sort of poking out the sides of it, which I think looks really nice. But I think this resource pack would be good to take a look at inside of my Minecraft hardcore world. And as I fly over to my main area where I've planted loads of different crop fields, you'll notice immediately all of the different changes. As we've already pointed out, the carrots and potatoes now have flower textures, which I think looks really cool. But as well as that, many of Minecraft's other blocks have changed. For example, even the leaves have the sort of bushy effect to it, which I am a massive fan of. And farmland now comes with a brand new texture, which I think looks really nice. But even as we walk through my hardcore world, you'll be able to notice a load of the different changes. Most obviously with like the sugarcane, and also these glowberries up there. I think this resource pack is really cool. Crafty's capitalized font is a simple resource pack which just changes the look of a font within Minecraft. And this resource pack simply retextures the look of the font within Minecraft to almost look more Minecrafty, and honestly I do think it looks really nice. Even jumping into my hardcore world and looking through like my inventory and all of the armor, you'll begin to notice the different font, and honestly I think this is a really nice looking font. Even just looking through all of the video settings, the font has changed. I think this resource pack does a really nice job at it. And I think it looks especially nice on the world selection screen. Now this final resource pack improves a very small feature within Minecraft. But first, just make sure you are subscribed, as I really want to do more of these resource pack videos in the future. And the best way to know if you want to see more in the future is to hit the subscribe button. But this final resource pack is known as Colourful Canines. Now this resource pack retextures the look of wolf armor in Minecraft. As before, a majority of the dyed wolf armor would have had this armadillo texture on it, which honestly I don't think looks very good. With a Colourful Canine resource pack, the majority of it changes to the colour that you've dyed for wolf armor. For example, if you dye it blue, the wolf will now even have little blue knee pads, which I think looks really nice. Now, despite this being another very small resource pack, I think this definitely does help just to add an extra feature in Minecraft, which I think should have been in the game already. And I do think this looks really nice. But let me know in the comments down below, are you a fan of this resource pack as well as the many other resource packs I've showcased in today's video? If so, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And personally, I think my favourites will have to be the Fresh Animations Extended resource pack, but I'm also a massive fan of a smaller totem, as well as the Door Tweaks resource pack. But make sure to hit the subscribe button and I'll see you in my next video.